Good?
Perfect, yeah.
Perfect. All right. Welcome.
What up?
What up?
Sup?
Glad to have you out. So I want to know kind of like your start with everything, because I've known you through like friends of friends of friends in the industry.
Yeah.
Are you from LA originally?
I'm not from LA originally.
Okay.
I'm originally from Sonoma County, which is Santa Rosa to be exact. It's like the biggest like residential like suburban city in Sonoma County.
Mm-hmm.
I moved here in LA to LA when I was 13.
It's hard to hear you. Sorry.
I moved to LA when I was 13, so I've been out here for 14 years now.
Okay.
So it's like I'm kind of an Angelina.
You're local.
Yeah, I'm local. Yeah.
Local enough to have opinions on the LA Underground, on the dance floor, on mainstream festivals.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll get into all that. But you, what was your involvement? Like, you just kind of started going to shows?
Yeah, so I started, I was a massive kid. So I started like with the Insomniac, like massive raves and stuff like that. With friends, and then it just like turned into like
how it usually is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, it's like people are broken up in that like demo of like, are we the people that like, you know, just like it? Is it just a phase, or is it like, is this like a phase but we're going to still participate, or is this going to become our whole life sort of thing?
What do you think is that difference maker? Because I know a lot of people that I used to go to like massives with before, that they just obviously don't care about like house music, or they don't care about the industry now. Yeah,
I think it's like honestly just like feeling a part of the community of it. It's like really just being involved in it. I've always been involved in music communities, like even before I was into electronic music. It was, you know, started with the pop punk scene, emo scene, ska scene. You know, it's like you keep going to shows and shows, you see the same people, and you start these relationships, and you know, that kind of formed, the same thing happened with electronic music, you know, going and making friends, learning the values of our community, of, you know, understanding, empathy, and just like being open to one another.
Do you think in this industry, like compared to, let's say, the ska, the pop punk, all the stuff that you in, because it's so frequent that there's so many shows going, it's easier for you to be like, now that you meet people that are in this industry, you're more inclined to kind of stick to it, because you're just, something's going to happen in 2 days, something's going to happen in 3 days. You don't have long periods away from it.
I don't think so. I don't think it's really has to do with that, because it's like this industry, like especially like the community with electronic music, like the shit isn't cheap. Like it's expensive.
For sure.
It's super expensive. But I think it is just like, you know, finding that one thing and that one group of people, or that one, you know, just like pillar of the community that you really like attach yourself to and really identify with.
What was your first one?
Mine was just opening and understanding, you know, like at the time, like I was like 285 pounds. I was like, I had already almost tried to kill myself twice. Like I was dealing with a lot of depression and everything, and just like going into this community and realizing that like, you know, nobody looked at me like I was weird. Nobody looked at me like I was, you know, they didn't judge me in the way I looked. They didn't judge me on, you know, was I the prettiest or the smartest or whatever. They just like judged me on how I treated other people, and, you know, how I vibed out and how I connected with the music. That was the most important thing. It's a huge thing.
Huge. There's I feel like it's like a weird like seesaw kind of thing with that, because yes, it is like super inclusive and everybody's welcoming everybody else, but there's also the opposite end of the spectrum where the people that they feel like almost uncomfortable regardless of it. I mean,
I feel more uncomfortable with like the mean girls and like the mean guy, you know, the people who are being like dicks about it, you know. It's just like
there are those
people.
There
really are like they're like the sparkle ponies and stuff like that, you know. It's like, oh wow, I didn't like spend like $5,000 on like a wardrobe for this music festival. My glitter isn't biodegradable, so like I'm the asshole, you know what I mean? So it's like that's when I personally feel uncomfortable, where it's like, you know, I'm being judged on, you know, what I find important within the community and the scene and stuff like that. Like, this isn't about an outfit. This isn't about what DJ you know. This isn't about any of that. It's like, this started as a place for people who didn't feel like they belonged, who didn't feel like they had a place, and they found it on the dance floor with the music. And I feel like sometimes it gets lost, specifically a lot within like the LA community that we're dealing with right now. So
the sense of community is being lost in LA?
I don't feel like the sense of community is being lost. I just feel like the reason why we're doing it is kind of lost every once in a while, you know, where it's just like, you know, like it's not about like, we're not trying to like be boiler room and like hang out with like the DJ.
Is this from the perspective of like the people putting on the parties and the promoters, or the people in attendance?
I think it's a little bit. I think it's the people more in attendance. Yeah, like it's that Hollywood like LA
people are going
vibe.
Out for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, they're going out for the wrong reasons and that sort of thing. Like, you know, honestly, like LA, like the people who are putting on these shows, like it's so diverse. You know, you have people like Understated, you have 900 Block, you have like Incognito, you have, you know, 6 a.m., you have work, and, you know, like, these people aren't, like, they're very, like, it's very diverse across the board, racially, like, ethnically, like, all of it, who are putting on this music. They're putting on, you know, artists that are, should reflect the diversity that comes with the production of the event itself, which is just so cool to me.
Yeah, and then it sucks to hear that it's like the people that are hosting the party are kind of trying to provide the diversity and trying to give the crowd, you know, ample time to see everything and kind of to see the difference and where you belong, but then the people that are attending the parties are going out for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like, I didn't really feel like partying in LA, like, I kind of got, like, really just, like, jaded about it for a really long time until I went to Europe for the first time, and just, like, going into, like, a huge mainstream festival and still realizing that, like, this was, like, a vibe. Like, there was a total vibe to it, and it was just,
out
like,
there.
Yeah, it was insane. Like, I went to, like, the first one I went to was, like, Awakenings.
Okay,
if you
I've
haven't
heard
gone,
of it. I haven't gone.
You should totally go.
Where is it?
It's in Amsterdam. It's like I think they're like having like their 25th or 20th anniversary like this year, and it's like obviously we got to go. Yeah. But like
we'll work out the details.
You will totally iron out the details later. But like like I went and it was just like seeing like tens of thousands of people, like different languages, different, you know, like creeds and religions and all of it, you know, and just like realizing it's like they didn't go out just to like go and get fucked up or be seen or like, you know, wear a sparkly outfit or whatever. Like they went and they're like, you know, like, don't get me wrong, like getting fucked up is part of it. Like we're gonna do that, but we're here for the music first. We're here to see amazing artists. We're here to see and like lose ourselves completely to it. That intention, and I agree with you that I don't think that is what it is here. I think the industry is as developed, if not more developed, than it is in Europe, as far as like, let's say specifically Los Angeles, because that's where we are and that's the kind of the collectives that we have to deal with. But people go out first because they want to get fucked up and they want to take the drugs, and it's kind of like a habitual like, hey, we know something's happening Monday, Tuesday, so let's do doesn't matter what it is, let's go. And I mean, I kind of like, I disagree kind of in the sense that like, you know, like America, we made the music, but like Europe made the culture, you know what I mean? So it's like as far as like this like industry, club culture, like dance culture, like club culture, festival culture, like just like the like we made the music, but they made that, like that's been part of their mainstream forever. That's you know, for like decades it's been part of their mainstream. You know, and it had nothing else to do out there. In some cases, and not even like a diss to you know whatever's going on in certain cities, but for some places that's all they got. I think it was just like they got so like inspired by like the sound coming out of like Chicago, out of Detroit, and just they were just like, fuck, dude, like let's like get on, you know, and that's why you have these artists who are like going and like they don't tour here anymore. Like I think it was like Jeff Mills like said in like 2014 or 20 like I think it was like 2015. Like he came out with this album. And like this interviewer asked him, he was like, oh, "Will you be touring in America?" Because it's like he's like Detroit, you know, like Detroit techno. And he was like, "No, I'm not gonna tour. America isn't interested in what I'm doing." Really? And isn't that wild? Like now I gotta take my ass all the way over to Europe to go see Jeff Mills. Yeah. And that's like, you know, it could have saved me a flight, but that's like, whatever. Unfortunate. It's unfortunate to hear like the favorite artists that you have that just had their like again they're jaded by coming here because they don't feel like they're appreciated. Well, I mean, there's that, and it's just like, you know, I mean, I want to see these artists come here, and it's just like, with that being said, it's like, you know, we still have so many artists that are here in the U.S., you know, like, you know, that can be put on a lineup that, you know, will showcase the diversity of dance music. You know, like I want to see like black females on a lineup. Like they exist, like they're out there. Like, do you think it's more of like they exist and they're there, but people aren't putting them on for like specific reasons, or they're just not being on everyone's radar? I think it's like a whole host of reasons. Like I think there's like the reasons spread across the entire spectrum of like, you know, whatever, you know, biases or just like, you know, just like not knowing of who these artists are, you know, like I want to see Stacey Hale like headline a festival, like, you know, I want to see her up there with like the Belleville 3. I want to see, you know, I want to see DJ Holographic. I want to see DJ Minx, you know, like these are the people that I want to see, you know, and it will absolutely inspire others who come from that community, you know, to do it, you know, go out there and start doing dance music. Because right now I feel like there's so many like kind of cultural roadblocks in the way. In 2020. In 2020. I mean, like you can, it like for me, a big thing for me is really just like, you know, just look at these festival prices. For example, that's a whole nother story. But in my opinion, it plays into it. You know what I mean? Like I was lucky enough to come from a family who could afford to send me to a $350 festival, you know, where I could go see a bunch of DJs and, you know, get inspired and really want to, you know, like work in this industry and make sure that this culture and this community is here for the next generation. You know, a lot of people, not just African Americans, but a lot of people within the people of color are being priced out of these festivals. So it's like, not only are you like, you know, these kids are breaking their backs, like trying to figure out a way to pay for these festivals. You know, they're doing these volunteer, like low-key scams, like
just to get
volunteer opportunities for festivals are like low-key scams in my opinion. Like you're asking these kids to like, you know, pay a deposit, volunteer for your festival, do like a 6 to 7 hour shift, and then like they go and enjoy it, but they got to wake up the next morning and make their shift, or they're gonna like the deposit, they're gonna end up paying for the festival anyways.
I know. I have a lot of friends that happen to do the same thing.
Sometimes it's people who just really want to get started and involved in like the production of festivals, and with that, like, dude, that's an amazing opportunity to do that. But like you have that, and then you have like the payment plans, and it's just like, well, people who do payment plans are paying anywhere from like $50 to $100 more because you have to pay a processing fee every single time. You know, and it's just like, not only people are being priced out of these experiences, but you know, like when they go to them, they finally are able to get the ticket. They're not seeing themselves on stage. You know, it took like 8 years of me going to festivals and, you know, starting to go to clubs and stuff like that to like go to, and it took me 8 years and flying all the way to Detroit for Movement Festival for me to see a lineup that showcased artists that came from my community.
Right. That's disappointing. That's terrible. It's terrible to hear.
It's like kind of a shame. You know, it's kind of a shame that like, you know, especially because the pillars of dance music, you know, disco, house, techno, those like they come from Black communities. This is Black music, and you know, I used to live in Inglewood. People this is the time where I was like really working like in dance music. You know, I was like interning.
You were interning with Dirty Bird.
I was interning with Dirty Bird at the time, and you know, and people would ask me like, and Understated was like a huge part of my life at the time. It was like freelancing for people like Minimal Effort and stuff. And people asked me like, what do you do for a living? And I'd be like, oh, I work in electronic music. And they'd be like, well, that's white people music. Like, I don't know what you're talking. Yeah, and I would be like, dude,
that doesn't even make sense.
What the fuck?
Allow me to play devil's advocate here. Okay, I just want to let's just to start with let's say like the festival pricing, because I agree that it's across all spectrums. Even my younger brother, who's, you know, not African American, he had to do the whole like, how am I going to figure out how to like save money to go to Coachella, to go to somewhere like this. So it's like, just to play devil's advocate, in their defense or whatever, their argument would be, we're putting on a 3-day festival, back-to-back weekends with artists that are asking for an absurd amount of money to get bookings, multi-million-dollar artists. So their whole reasoning is like, okay, well, we can justify charging $400 for a ticket. But there are smaller scale festivals that I don't think warrant charging $400 that are.
Well, I think Coachella and a lot of those big name festivals, like that's a completely like, it's a little bit different in the sense where it's like, you know, they're not just going, like, they don't make their money from ticket sales. Like we're talking like they're making their money from like sponsorships. Sure. Like, I think like it's an absurd amount of money, like a stupid small fortune you could retire forever for the rest of your life amount of money to like have your product to be at these huge festivals. These like, and it's.
So then shouldn't the focus of the needing for them to kind of understand their not their economy, their community and their industry for the smaller scale festivals? That's I mean, I hate to drop names, but let's say for example like Desert Hearts. How much is a Desert Hearts ticket? How many days is it?
I mean,
$200-$300 for a 2-day festival.
I think it's like $300.
$300
for like a 3-day festival.
For a 3-day festival. Yeah. I mean, all love to those dudes. I'm just trying to compare apples to apples so that we're kind of on the same page.
So with festivals like Desert Hearts, like I feel as though like they are not pulling in like multi-million-dollar sponsors.
No, they're not.
So it's like that's what I mean where it's like it's completely different. You know, you have festivals like Desert Hearts that like are
make
still
the money off the tickets.
They're like still like they either make the money off the tickets or they're in the red by the time that whole thing's said and done with, you know? And it's like they're not getting like a multi-million-dollar investment from Heineken. Like they're not getting a multi-million-dollar investment. And you know, and that it's like I can understand that. You know, there are festivals that are smaller, more of a smaller community where it's just like, okay, like, yeah, I get the price, like, and it's expensive. It's very expensive. You're dealing with agents who have these prices, you know, for festivals. Because, like, the way an artist makes music now has changed. They don't make music off of record sales. Like,
well, it's more of like stream-based, which they could not consider record sales, but they still get paid off of it.
They still get paid off of it, but it's not like...
It's not, yeah.
It's not like
in
the 60s or the 70s.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like they're not getting, like, huge, like, enough to, like, feed themselves and their families and, you know, live a lifestyle.
It's all
like,
touring and shows and gigs.
It's all touring.
Yeah.
It's all touring and festivals and, like, all of these things, you know? So it's just, like, I understand, like, all of that, but I think that the biggest thing, like, I don't have the answer as to how we fix this.
Yeah.
Like,
there's a very, like, circular...
There's like, I don't have the answer.
This.
There's just, like, I don't have the answer of how to fix, you know, seeing more people of color on a lineup or seeing prices drop or any of that. But what I can do is bring it up in conversation and start a dialogue. And, you know, hopefully more people are realizing that, like, yo, like, it's kind of like, that's kind of whack. That's like kind of whack. Like, there's a fair point to that. Like, I want to be able to go see, like, you know, artists that look like me and be inspired to like be the next generation and, you know, do that without having to sell a fucking kidney or open up another credit card to go and do it, you know, like,
and I think it's also on the responsibility of the promoters, because again, I think with the collectives and how you're saying there is a diverse group of collectives, let's just say specifically in Los Angeles, that are trying to bring artists that people want to see from overseas, people that it's, I don't know if it's so much of like a selective, like we want to get a black guy on the gay, we want to get a woman, we want to get this guy, and then boom, and we have a fully diverse show, and now everyone's going to buy tickets.
And I think with that being said, it's like, it's a lot of like, you are seeing diversity way more, specifically within gender. Like, you are starting to see like way more, like, I'm sorry, like, ladies are taking over techno, like, period. Like, I agree. You know, some of my, like,
they're holding their own.
They're holding their own, and it took a long time for them to get there, and it's still not where it should be, but it's gonna take more work and more dialogue and more discussions and more, you know, effort and, you know, finding allies as talent bookers, as agents, as promoters, as festivals. Like, it's gonna take a global effort to like make sure that everyone is represented in a healthy and fair way.
Yeah, I agree that the presence of the female DJ, the presence of the African American DJ, the diversity of like a full lineup is broader overseas. That I agree. That I think the women in techno, and I think the, you know, whoever else is trying to DJ is definitely more prevalent, and you see the diversity heavier over there. But here, I think because there's so many collectives, so many cities, so many pockets of house music going on, and everywhere from here to fucking Oregon to who knows where in Dallas, you know what I mean? It's like to have the artists that you want because you live here in LA is I can see that it's gonna be tough to get them here.
And we also have just like a very rich, just like I mean, just think about like all the friends that we have, you know, think of all the friends that we have that are just like, you know, like the local DJs, like seriously, shout out, like, you know, plug, you know, like you know all of the local DJs that we're personally friends with, you know, like they're out there and they're crushing it. I think like Mike started doing Monsieur Fraser, started doing like what is it, Dirty Laundry? Yeah, he just started a night at Dirty Laundry, and like, you know, you have like all of these people, you know, that are from this community that, you know, it's so diverse, but like at the same time, like LA is such a bubble. It is such a bubble, you know, like don't get me wrong, from like me starting to go to these huge festivals to like where it is now. I went to like EDC last year for my birthday. Yeah. And it was just like, I looked around the crowd and I was like, wow, like it is
positive or negative.
It's so positive. Like it's very positive. Nice. And seeing like, you know, like the diversity that's there. It's not where it should be.
Okay, so we're talking about diversity on the dance floor, which is one of the most. Okay, so what do you mean diversity on the dance? Because so LA is like a melting pot of every culture.
It really is. I mean? It totally is. When I started going to festivals, like I started going in like 2009, 2010, and it's like most of us during the EDM explosion of SoCal, like you know, like I would look around and be like, I don't see anybody who looks like me on this dance floor, like at all. And it's like, it's as I've, you know, gotten older and I got to being of age so I could go to nightclubs and stuff like that, you still kind of like, you know, like you still see that like there are more of us. Yeah. There definitely are more of us, as speaking as an African American, but like it's not like a huge percentage, you know. It's like specifically coming from like the fact that like our culture did make this music. Like we're not there.
Right.
We're not like holding space, you know?
Do you think it's do you think it's because the African American culture, the dance music as a whole hasn't influenced enough of the African American culture to get those people out? Because obviously it's here in LA, so it's like you have everything from dance music to hip hop and the new wave of rap or whatever, SoundCloud rap, whatever you want to call it, is that like, do you see the same sort of diversity on that dance floor compared to this dance floor?
I mean, yeah, like the hip hop dance floor is like one of the most diverse dance floors like I've ever seen in my entire life. Like you literally see everyone there, and that's awesome. When it comes to dance music, like you have to go back to like the history of it's like, okay, like it wasn't being accepted here, like they went to Europe, and Europe is not. There aren't a bunch of like African Americans running around Europe all the time, so it's like it's understandable, and it's understandable, but like now that we know and this is being called to attention, it's like, okay, like how can we make this different? Like to sit here and say that like there isn't enough people who are African American who are in dance music to influence the culture, it's like it's absolute bullshit. Like they're there, like they are there. They are in the Midwest. They are in the East Coast. They are in the West Coast.
Come the fuck out. Come to the shows.
Yeah, and it's just like it's like sometimes it's not exactly their fault as to why they're not being booked. Why they're not their albums aren't going off. They're not getting the full like marketing power of like whatever label they're being signed to. What those reasons are, I'm not sure, but like we can go ahead and talk about it and maybe find out.
Yeah.
Like
how else are we gonna find out?
Yeah,
let's talk about it.
Exactly. Let's talk about it. Because
I think with every like crux of the idea, there's always like 50 million explanations, and you can go anywhere with reasons to why it's not really as prevalent as it should be. But again, I think it's made great strides in the past.
100%.
Even in the past like 5 years alone, when I got involved in the industry, I agree it wasn't as diverse. And you see people in Glendale, you see people from Pasadena, and people that like
exactly. But like keep in mind, like we live in like with everything in America, like we live on the West Coast, we live in LA, we live in a very like even like
the best city.
Yeah, we live in the best city in the whole world.
We do.
Like,
we do. Facts.
In America.
Real
I'm
talk.
Sorry. All my New Yorkers out there. Sorry.
Y'all cold right now, aren't you?
Y'all freezing, shivering.
Yeah, I'm hot. I'm sweating right now.
But like we are in such a bubble. Like even my area, like growing up, you drive 10 minutes out of Santa Rosa or whatever, and you are like literally in like backwater, like deliverance country, like Trump stickers, like pro-abortion, like pro-choice, like what is it, pro-life, like pro-life, like just it's wild, to be. To realize,
one line away
to
from,
literally be like one block
yeah,
away from like the polar opposite of like what we stand for. And to realize that it's like when you go to other places, it's not like that. It's not as diverse, and to bring attention to that, and to like have a place where you can talk about it, because it's like we're not going to get anything done if we don't have this dialogue,
No, of course not.
And that's like
because the conversation never happens. That's the thing. If dialogue never happens, so with people like you were able to go somewhere in Santa Rosa, you went a block away and saw the lack of diversity. So when you come here, you're helping grow the bubble. So it's like it's kind of people that travel and come in this is how the bubble is going to grow outward. Sort of thing.
I was like one of 5 black kids in my whole school, and 2 of them were my siblings.
Same.
So like for real, like there's no diversity. It was like super white.
Santa Rosa.
Dude, super like that's where the money is.
My
and,
sister
like,
lived up there.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I saw that whole neighborhood.
Oh, SRGC.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, the junior college up there. Like,
no. She just lived up in Santa Rosa.
She lived
she didn't go to the school up there.
Yeah, so it's very like it's progressive as far as like it's like the same kind of progressive as like the OC is progressive. You know what I mean? Like it's like it's like
as progressive as they can be.
Progressive as it's gonna get, and then you go to like San Francisco, and it's like super progressive.
That's the thing, because it's also behind the name. Like people hear Orange County and they already kind of know what to associate with it. So the people that want to go live there, those people are just kind of growing in numbers over there, and they're kind of reinforcing the fact that that's what that lifestyle is. You go to San Francisco, people are like, people who don't agree with those ideals aren't going to choose to move there. So it's hard to get.
It's actually really funny. We brought up the OC. Like I'll never forget like when Trump was elected, we decided to go to like I think it's like La Cave or Focus or something for like some artists, and like people were just like in the smoking section, just like screaming at each other. Just,
my god, arguing about it.
Because you just had like the dance music fans who were just like no, like, being together and like who come from like, progressive way of thinking and, not being like a dick about like politics, and then you have like the super like conservatives being like, no, like
dicks about
politics. Total dicks, but we're all we're all dicks. Yeah.
No, yeah, we are. We really are.
We're all
dicks. I agree.
Yeah.
And so, do you think like where is it that we can, aside from like having the dialogue as far as our industry, because I want to focus on what is it that you think internally is like the first step? Because the diversity on the dance floor, like what is it that can add? Like, hold on, I had like, let me see here. What makes a dance floor diverse? It's literally like the different cultures and ethnicities of people that are in there.
I think it's like not just the cultures
or the acceptance of
I think like what makes it safe for diversity is the acceptance. That's what it is, and that is something that is the most important to me about the dance, like music community, like period. It's the acceptance, the understanding, the empathy that we have for one another, the patience that we have for one another. Like like the way I honestly think that is like everyone in the world, if they just spent like a year like in like clubbing and like club culture and out like partying
out here though.
Like honestly, like anywhere, like because what it is at the end of the day, you are forced to share a space in a vulnerable state, whether you're intoxicated or whether you're not, with people who come from completely different walks of life than you do, who maybe have ideas that you may not agree with, who may have, like moral standpoints that like you absolutely think are bullshit. But at the end of the day, you are being brought in and you guys are spending time together on a dance floor. And what unites you is the fact that you are there by the music. Right. And like to realize that something so small can make people set aside their differences. It's like, why can't other people, like other things in this world, be able to do that as well? Yeah,
it's never ending. You're never going to have like a fully diverse, fully inclusive, because even in LA where we are really accepting of people and we try to be open, there are still, people who are not comfortable because they feel like they are looked down upon or they feel like they don't belong, which I disagree with. I had Noir on and we were talking about like the trans community, or no, sorry, it was I think it was Noir we were talking about that, or it was Alejandro, one of those two. Yeah. Sorry. So I was talking with one of them about the trans community and the gay community and how they still, even in 2020 in Los Angeles, even though they're fully integrated in the dance music culture, they're still maybe they're hesitant to show up to other collectives that they're not really familiar with for that fear of.
Do you think it's more of like fear of like they're gonna like talk about like, yo, I'm a trans head and they're gonna get shit on for it because it's like
trans.
Trans. Oh, I thought you said trans.
No.
I was like,
no. Trans and gay and LGBTQ. Sorry, I should have just went with that.
So not Armin van Buuren.
Not trans. Not Armin van Buuren. No, they might have a tough time.
Not Armin circa 2000.
No, like. I think trans music heads might feel off because that's not the same vibe that's going on right now.
I can't believe I just confused trans with trans.
We got it on tape. We can quote your ass on that. No, but the diverse. That was just one of the points where it's like, as diverse and as open to everyone as we are here in LA, it sucks that there's still something missing. There's still a divide that I'm not understanding.
That hurts me so bad, honestly, because it's like, I like one of my favorite dance floors to go on to in LA is definitely like, obviously I'm biased and I will always say the understated dance floor.
Sure. That's fair.
I will always say the understated dance floor. But one of my favorite ones to go on to is like the Incognito dance floor. Like it's like you see like it's like all techno. Like it's like techno and it's house and it's like you see like it's transcending like the age demographics. You see it transcending like the racial and the sexuality like spectrum, and it's just like that like, and for me, like, I think it's just like such a beautiful thing. Like, absolutely. I really do. Like, honestly, like I never would have met. Like, I live in LA, and I did like other things, and was part of other communities. Sure. But like, I never would have met like so many people if it wasn't from such a diverse dance floor as like of the underground community. Right. And the LA underground community, it's like one of the most beautiful.
I agree.
It's like we do it, like people talk a lot of shit about the LA music scene, and it's like we do it with a lot of love. What do they say?
What are they talking shit about?
A lot of love. Like come on,
I just feel like the
California Tech House, like come on.
I mean, Tech House is don't get me started with Tech House, please.
Dude, Tech House is tight. but it could get really abrasive and it could be kind of bullshit every once in a while.
It's a whole nother story.
Doesn't mean that you're bullshit for listening to it.
Right. No. I mean, I think any genre or subgenre of house music, it has its like, they're just not. Yeah. Some people just don't do it right, and the tech house community, I think, is the community right now in LA. Yeah, it is. It is. And I don't want to say it's because of
X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, X, Y, Z, whatever it is. I mean, people, you fucking know, whatever.
You know what you're there.
you know what you did. You know what you did.
I'm going to call you out.
But
I think it's like mostly it's like, every community like has their stands and like it actually like I used to be like such a snob. I was one of I'm still a music snob. Yeah. I'm such a music snob. I like can't even say it with a straight face. It's like I'm not a snob anymore. It's like no, like you're literally gonna have all of my friends call my ass out of the comment section. But what I have like the turn of the coin that like I have found is that like you know what, like you can be a snob, you can be a stan, like go ahead, like love your music, but like don't be a dick about it. Yeah. And it's just like there's been so many instances where like I'll never forget this. Like me and my friends, we went to UCLA. We went to UCLA to go to Dee Dee Reese, and my friend at the time, he had just gotten off of Holy Ship. He had just did his four sales. He got essentially he paid for an $8,000 bathrobe. Like that's literally what he did.
$8,000,
dude. Like
was
for.
What?
Because you like after you get like four like you go four sailings, you graduate, and you get like this bathrobe that says Holy Ship on it, right? And like Jesus. That's like Holy Ship's not cheap. Cool. Yeah, it's super cool. And we like going into Dee Dee Reese, and there was this kid there, and he saw it, and he was just like, "Oh my god! Like I've always wanted to go on a Holy Ship." Blah, blah, blah. He must have been like 18, like just started UCLA.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, and he was just like, yeah, like I love electronic music, blah, 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 blah. Like I always go to Coachella. Like DJ Snake had the best fucking set of Coachella this year, blah, 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 blah. And it took literally everything in me not to like... you know what I mean? Yeah. Though DJ Snake, like, he puts out bangers. Like, I'm not talking shit about DJ Snake, but what really got me was that he was like, no, like, I'm always at the Sahara tent. Like, I only go to the Yuma tent. Like, if there's not a cool set at the Sahara tent, like, house music just doesn't give me.
He sounds like an 18-year-old.
He sounds like an 18-year-old
getting involved.
He sounds like an 18-year-old that just found like electronic music yesterday, and it's like, okay, instead of being a dick, like, I could have been a dick
because you were that fucking 18-year-old.
I was that 18-year-old. You
didn't know shit when you went to EDC 2009, 2010.
Dude, I didn't. Shit. Like, I mean,
I thought fucking I saw Afrojack at EDC 2010 and I was like, sick. Dude, I want to know what song this is.
You know what?
I was that fucking kid. And it's growth. It's growth. It's having the conversation.
This is what we call growth.
Yes,
yeah. But it's like, instead of being a dick, like, it just honestly, like, it made me realize, it was just like, dude, like 4 years from now, like 2-3 years from now, that kid is going to be like, losing himself on like a 900 block dance floor.
Yes,
you know, like 4 years from now. Like, and that's amazing
if he sticks with it, because the thing is, like, in order to kind of like grow and develop from those artists and from those EDM, whatever fucking main genre you want to use now. I don't know what you guys have calling it shit these days, but whatever you fucking youngins are calling it. But in order to grow, it's like you have to choose to like get integrated. You have to choose to like, I mean, not have friends that like the same thing you do, but
it's so much easier for these kids these days.
Oh yeah,
like I want to be like the jaded like old man, like get off my fucking lawn real quick, like dead ass. Like, do you know how many hard drives and laptops I destroyed trying to download Benny Benassi and instead downloading porn? Like honestly, like you know what I mean? You know,
they got some torrents out there.
You know what I mean? Like this is like off of FrostWire and LimeWire. Like I went through like so many laptops. Like oh my god, my mom wanted to kill me.
You were looking at porn. You were looking it up.
I mean, like, who does it? Everybody watches porn. But anyway, so like fucking like nowadays, like you can like go ahead and go on Spotify and just like scroll all the way down and go to the very beginning, or you can go on Beatport and go all the way down and like, you know, like the tools are there to dig, you know, and you just have to have that mentality. And it's just like when I really started getting into it, like one of my best friends, like at the time, he's like my day one, like he started like DJing and he got really, really into it. He started like writing like reviews in college about it. Like I'll never forget when he like dragged Hardwell through filth. Like where this album that came out in 2012. Oh my god, I still have it saved somewhere. But like, you know, like, and we just dug and we dug and we dug and we dug, and it's like I've always had the mentality where it's like, if I love something, I want to know everything about it. I want to know exactly where it came from, you know. And it's just like, you know, when I fell in love with techno, I was just like, okay, like, where the fuck did this come from?
Let's dig into this. Yeah,
you know. And it's just like, you know, well, my introduction to techno was like, you know, if those who know me very well, they know like I am a Richie Hawtin stan. Like
Richie Hawtin stan?
Stan, not a fan, a stan. Like,
a stan?
Like, hi Stan, I got your letters.
Oh
like,
God. Damn, we're coining our own shit. I
yeah,
like that.
like
that's
stan.
how they, yeah,
like
that's
stan.
how, okay.
No, like,
okay.
honestly, I'm not that big of a stan, because like, honestly, like, people follow the Grateful Dead, like, literally everywhere. Like, I just go to Europe and like stalk them for a little while and then like come home.
And then you're like, I got my fix.
He's like, I can come home, you know. But like, yeah, and it's like that was my introduction, you know. And me being inspired to dig was like having this dude, like this random fucking dude, tell me that like, you know, like 3 black dudes from Detroit made techno. Like it didn't come from Europe, you know. And that was just like, wait, what? Like that's insane. And like the fact that like I had to learn that from like Richie Hawtin was like kind of like it's of absurd. You know what I mean?
Well, again, this 18-year-old kid that we're talking about that clearly is, I mean, whatever, DJ Snake, more power to you, whatever the fuck. But it's like, we can't expect them. We can't expect them to really like understand it and get it. So it's the only thing we can do is continue to encourage, continue to throw parties, because I think the underground now compared to like the mainstream where it was before, where the underground was like a scary fucking, you don't go to the LA underground, you don't go to shows, and like you don't know what's gonna happen.
Here's an address, go ask for a guy named Paco.
Yeah. He's gonna tell you the real address. Like we went through that shit. Like that's really what it was. Did you go through that shit? Yeah, I did. Back when this was like high school, we would go to like
what the fuck?
Yeah, oh yeah, we would end up we'd end up in Boyle Heights. You talk to this one guy, he'll give you the address to the actual place. You drive 2-3 blocks down. It was bad. It was like, dude, so it was really sketchy, and people were they didn't want to go out and deal with that kind of shit. So now it's like the underground is almost the mainstream here in LA. Yeah, because there's so much going on and there's so many people where it's like not fucking really underground.
I feel like that's changed. It's gotten to that point where it's like now, like the way that these parties are being advertised is like completely different. Like you have like fucking warehouse collectives like coming out and doing like paid ad space on fucking Facebook. Like we're crazy.
That's me. I'm fucking doing that. That's exactly what we do.
So it's just like it loses like at the end of the day, like this is like the underground is gonna like I remember like it must have been like almost like a year ago when everybody thought that like, oh, like we're gonna get the 4 a.m. last call. And everybody started freaking out. Yeah. And I was just like, dude,
it's not happening.
It's not happening. It's gonna happen eventually. Like we're losing so much money, but like, like so much potential for revenue for the city of Los Angeles. But it's like everybody was freaking out. Like I would talk to people like who are, you know, throwing these parties and stuff. This is like after I had already left Understated. Yeah. And it's just like, you know, like why are you scared? Like why are you scared? You know, like
that could only help, you would think.
Why, like, you know, and it was just like, oh, like, you know, people are gonna want to come out and like blah blah blah. And I was just like, you know what? And you know what that means? That means that you can now go the extra mile and make a different reason other than like alcohol after 2 a.m. and like not having cops and security like as a reason as to why they would choose your party.
That's hard though, because the ethos of that I agree with, but it's like, let's say like just to be the devil's advocate as someone who's a promoter, it's like we have after hour parties where, you know, the party starts late and you can say like, hey, everything ends at 2 a.m. Cool. We're like one of the only good shows happening, so we can bank on a big rush coming after. So if you take away 2 hours and people are still drinking at the bars that they are, I can see where that would like, that can hinder it. And you're like, fuck. But I agree that try to find a way to bring people.
Find people a way to do that. Other than the fact,
it's like they're already drinking there. That's what sucks.
Like, at the same time, it's like, let's keep it real though. Like the underground, like let's keep it absolutely real.
Yeah, hit him with this.
I'll play devil advocate as like a consumer. Like, can we please keep this real? You were like I'm not naming names. Not naming names. Sure. But like there are collectives out here in LA who are literally asking people to pay $40 at the door for the same warehouse, for the same DJs, and shit in a porta potty. Like that is disgusting. So why am I gonna do that? Why am I gonna do that? When I can just go to a nightclub and literally see the same DJ on a better sound system. Like, why would I do that? Correct. So it's like, it's on us to figure out what the fuck we're going to do.
Make your lineups more diverse.
Make it more diverse. diverse, and it's like, you know, understanding when we first started, like we, like, I remember when we were like talking about it, it was like me and Micah one night, and we were just like, dude, like, what the fuck is like the magic like formula that we've like figured out here? You know, like, what is it? And it's like what it honestly is, other than it being like a homie fest, you know, like all the fams there, you know, always. Like everybody wants to come because it's like everybody you know is going to be there. But like it's also the fact that it's just like the formula of, you know, getting that artist that people who go to the clubs recognize. They will recognize them on, you know, like a marquee for Sound or for Exchange or for Academy or for whatever fucking nightclub in LA. Sure. And it's like you, after you like have that name on there, you like put in the stuff that you actually want to push forward, and then in the sounds that you actually want to see progress. And it's like it's our responsibility as in the underground, because it's like people are going to dig deeper, like always. People are always going to try and explore the darker shades of whatever genre of music they listen to. And it's like, where are they going to find that? They're not going to find that at a huge massive. Like, they're just not. Like, it's very mainstream, it's very commercial, and it's like, that's why you've seen like this huge resurgency of like and a saturation of the underground in the last like 5 years, because it's like we've grown the fuck up. Like we're not 21 anymore. That generation of like EDM fans that were just so inspired by like, you know, these huge massives and the tutus and the candy and, you know, like the put your fucking hands up like type of shit. Yeah, like, and
then they cast it over, whatever the fuck they did.
Oh my god, somebody did that to me this year, like last year at Coachella. Still do that? Dude, no, not at Coachella. Last year at EDC. Last year at EDC, it was so cute. I was just like, oh my god, like I'm home, whatever. God. But it's like that resurgence. Like we're tired of it, and we're growing up, and our tastes are maturing. So it's like, okay, like where are we gonna find the music that we want? Well, most of us, like a lot of us, have like the Rockefeller mentality, where it's like, well, fuck it, we're just gonna throw it ourselves, and it's turned into like this wonderful patchwork community of like different sounds, different genres, different sub communities within all of us, and it's just like that's what's gonna keep the underground thriving. With that being said, I still think that we need to do a little more.
A little more
as in like what as far as like the experience, like it's just like,
oh, that's so tough. I'm not
saying like you bring out fucking dancers and shit like that. I'm not saying
we did that. We had go-go dancers at our first like warehouse parties, dude. Don't even start. Trust me, it's like I because like how you're saying, certain people like we're taking the Rockefeller, you know, approach to it, and everybody's just like how everybody's a DJ now, everybody's a promoter, everybody throws parties, everybody does shit.
There
so
was
it's
a
like
second there where like I remember like it was like maybe like 3 years ago where like everyone and their mother was throwing a fucking warehouse party.
Dude, what do you think's happening now? It's growing more now.
It's growing more,
people
but
are throwing nights.
It's growing more, but like you know you're gonna it's the same evolution that's gonna happen every you know like as like some kid people is gonna like people are gonna fizzle out. They're gonna be like, dude, like this hustle, like this ain't that life. You know what I mean? like this risk.
I don't think I could break my neck any harder than that on that one.
Exactly. You know, like this ain't that life. Like I don't want anything to do with it. It's too much of a hustle. It's like, you know, I may
there's
not.
There's no return right away.
There's no ROI. There's like, you know, I'm up until like 8 o'clock in the morning, fucking cleaning out this shitty warehouse. Like, you know, like it sucks. You know.
But hey, we broke even.
But we broke even.
Yes. That's the fucking. It's like it is more of like we do it for the love of the community. We do it for the love of the music. Exactly. We do it because we're doing it for our friends, and we see what our friends are doing, and like I get it. And it's just so. There is no like formula. There is no like secret formula to it. I think. Yeah. But it's like. I've always said, and I'll go on record saying I don't fucking care. You throw $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 parties to generate $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 if you're lucky. Yeah. But you get to like a much bigger scale with other collectives that are $20,000 lineup, production, marketing, all that. Yeah. You're gonna you have a chance to make 40 to 50. Yeah. So it's like for us smaller collectives that are really putting in putting our everything we have into one event every time. To go up against other collectives that are, have no issue with any of that. Exactly. It's tough.
Like it is really, really tough. But like even with that being said, like you have the people who are like in between underground and like huge large scale events. Like you have, your minimal efforts and you have like what's the sound
Which one?
What's the production company for sound? I totally forget the name of
Production company? I don't know.
No, like it's like Kobe and like Mark. Like I totally forget. They do.
Sorry,
like,
Kobe and Mark.
Sorry, you guys. But like I would totally forget. But it's like that is, you know, like those are the people that are in between that are doing like crazy wild shit. Yeah. But like honestly, they are still putting their necks on the line to like give us extremely well like orchestrated, innovative lineups that are like not what you're going to see at a huge mainstream event, but still with a production value that warrants, you know, still with a huge production value. Right. And that's like so fucking cool to see. And it's just like, it ain't easy. Like it absolutely ain't easy. Like I've seen like
church.
Yeah, it's
not easy at all.
It is not easy.
This industry is not easy to navigate. It's easy to get lost in. It's easy to so easy to get lost in. It's so easy to be in it for the wrong reasons. And I think there are people that are in it for the wrong reasons, and people who are in it for the right reasons, but they don't get the same opportunities as the people. So it's really like this conversation can go on fucking forever.
It can totally go on forever, and it's just like, you know what? Like it's all about intention at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And it's like I'll never ever forget this. Like somebody who I was working for asked me straight up, because I was like super young. I was young. You know, I was in it for the right reasons, but I was still fucking up. You know what I mean? And she asked me straight up, she was just like, do you want to party or do you want to be the party? And like that mentality blew my fucking mind. Blew my mind, changed my life. And it's like, I have asked like friends who are like, yo, I want to do this for real. And it's like, you know, what, regardless of what capacity I am within the industry, like I have taken like a huge step back, and it's like, figure out your shit, figure out what you really want to do, and then like get into it. But like before you fucking get into it, because it is a huge sacrifice. You know, you like a lot of people are hustling, doing this from the moment they get up to the moment they go to bed, and then some. Yeah. And, you know, like it's kind of a thankless job. Like you're working your ass off, and it's like you're not the person who's in the front. Like you're not the person who's, you know, making like 80 grand a fucking booking and getting to travel the world and like do all these things.
You're not in the photos.
Yeah, you're not in any of that. Yeah. And it's like that's when you have to ask yourself, like, do you want to party or do you want to be the party? Yeah. You know, and it's like I've seen a lot of people, like thankfully a lot of our friends, you know, that we see who are, you know, getting bigger as DJs, who are getting, you know, bigger as production with their production companies and whatever it may be that they are, whatever their endeavor may be. But, you know, you're seeing them, like, I've seen them fall on their face. I've seen them, you know, juggle the party and the profession and, you know, like fall on their face. And I've also seen them get the fuck up, dust themselves off, and find a more sustainable way to make that happen for themselves. Because it's like, this is not a sustainable lifestyle.
No, it's, well, I mean, again, to be, it's not sustainable when you're really taking it as a consumer. It's not sustainable. Because
as a consumer and as a professional, like I don't think it's I like as a professional in the sense of it's like you need to find that balance. You know what I mean? Yeah. You need to be able to find it. Like for me, like it was, you know, I fucking fell on my face a few times and, you know, was in a really unsustainable, unhealthy way of navigating shit. Right. You know, because it's like you like, you know, you're in this industry that's like a party and you're partying and then like, oh fuck, you gotta wake up and be professional and you gotta like do it all again every single day of the week. And it's like, you know, it's really hard. You gotta check yourself, but it's like also at the same time it's like, you know, you have to realize that it's like you need to surround yourself with people who are like also gonna fucking check you too. And be like, yo, like I see what's going on, like, you know, and, you know, I am lucky to have friends who do that for me, and I am that friend for quite a few people as well, and, you know, it's just like, you know, like...
You put people in check? No, I would never see that.
Oh, God, I call motherfuckers out? No. I would never. But, like, it's hard. It's really hard, and, you know, it's, like, kind of like an unspoken thing. Like, you know, you see people doing things that are, like... Fuck, dude! You need to take a second.
You see
know?
It all the time.
Yeah,
and it's those people that they don't have that support system that we thankfully have with our close knit, you know, communities.
With our families, with our family. Like this is the first time that like my like immediate family like isn't a huge support system, and it's like my friends are, especially like my friends that are like we're a little squad, we're a little crew, and like we're always out. But like, you know, it's just like. And it's okay if you don't see your friends all the time. It's okay to not like go out to like every single event. It's
Are you listening?
Are
you whoever? If you're not watching,
there
listening?
will always be another function next weekend.
Well, what I do, my breakdown in the last like 2 years is go early, leave early.
See, mine is I have the checklist. I have the checklist, and the checklist is like so LA, but it's like, okay, is a homie throwing it? Am I supporting a friend if I go? If my presence is there, am I supporting a friend? How much is the ticket?
I'm surprised that's not the first.
How much is the ticket? Because if it's a homie, like if it's like you guys, like I'm gonna buy a ticket. Right. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna like ask for guest lists because I'm gonna buy a ticket.
Thank you.
Because it's like, dude, you support your friends. You know, like. Support your friends. If your friends
Can we point the camera
if your
and
friends are throwing events, you pay for a fucking ticket. You do not ask for guest lists.
Listen to the woman, please.
You do not ask for guest lists.
And it's like within reason. Like I understand it. Like other people that are promoting, like as far as like on an industry level, like I can understand it, but. If
your friends are throwing, like if it's a $20 ticket, I will pay for it.
Guest
list. If it's a $60 ticket, I'm gonna ask for a discount. And if it's like a straight up festival, then it's like, I'm probably not gonna go, but I will definitely like retweet or whatever. But like retweet whatever.
Doing your part.
And the final thing is, it's like, have I seen that artist before? You know, like that's final.
Huge.
This is the
that's
checklist.
Huge. That's huge.
You know, and it's like now there's like a sub check where it's like, am I gonna see this artist in Europe the next time I go?
Right. Wow, you're really delving into each event.
Yeah.
For me, it's like, do I have the energy to go for an hour or not? And then I'm like, I'm gonna stay home.
No, it's like if we're gonna do it like that, it's like, did I get home? Did I already take off my bra? And if it did, I'm not going anywhere.
That is the deciding factor. I've heard that a lot. Yeah, I've heard that a lot. Once the bra comes off, that's it.
It's like, no, I'm in bed. Like, it's no. We're in yoga pants. We're not moving. Yeah. Like, got TV on,
cozy
popcorn. Yeah, dude.
Tight.
I'm on my gym jams and my comfies. I can't leave.
Talk to me about Pollen. You're the community manager for them. And
I am a community manager.
It's kind of interesting for Pollen because what I learned from them, it's an invite-only marketplace.
Yes.
And they host, let's say, over 35,000 16 to 28-year-olds that brands can access to help promote their shows?
No, so basically, okay, so like this is what Pollen is. Pollen is what I absolutely like. It is one of the very few companies that like is actually combating the price gouging of festivals and events.
Tickets.
So it is ticket sales.
Got
so
it.
It's peer-to-peer marketing with a gamification aspect to it, which is like and it's all driven by passion. Like we're not giving these ambassadors like
ambassadors are who?
Ambassadors are like, you can sign up to be an ambassador for a festival, and then you can sell passes to your friends with an incentive that your friends get that most people don't get, whether it be a percentage off discount, whether it be like express entry or like whatever. And you know, it allows it's basically you're reaching out to the people that like you're already going to go to the festival with. They get an incentive, and it's like for the people who like can't afford to go to the festival, they can like get a genuinely 100% free pass to go to the festival. And we're not saying that you have to sell like 30 tickets. Like most of it's like you sell 5 passes and you get a free ticket to this festival. And you have
to be an ambassador to like benefit to get those benefits. Yes, like getting a free ticket and all that stuff.
Yeah. And it's just like it's so cool to see like
that's great. I've never heard of it.
It's awesome.
Yeah, awesome.
So it used to be called Verve. And now it's called
okay, I know Verve.
You know Verve. Yeah, you know Verve. So like, yeah. And it's
rebranded, motherfuckers.
Rebranded. You got Pollen White Label. But like, no, it's one of those things where it's just like, like being able to see people experience this community is so important to me. Like, it's just like I have most of the things that make me who I am, most of the, you know, the morals and ideals that I have, like I didn't learn those from like going to fucking kindergarten and going to school or like being at work or like, you know, my parents. No, I learned them from the dance floor, from going to these events, you know, like how many, like you don't know true empathy until like you see somebody who's like lost at 7:00 in the morning in a campsite with like wearing almost nothing and like cannot find their campground, you know.
Do you help those people, or you just watch them like, oh, look at the zombie?
No, like actually, it's just like, do you like where are your friends, or you don't know like true empathy and understanding and just like community until you see like the little kid in the corner, like with his eyes rolling in the back of his head and he has no friends around him. You know what I mean? Like
over the age of 21.
Over the age of 21, yes.
At our shows.
Oh yes. It's 21 and up. But it's like that's like these are the things that I value in a human being and in myself that like I didn't learn I learned them on dance floor. I learned them going to these festivals and having these experiences. And it's just like the idea that other people can have that and without trying to like break the bank or stress out or, like maybe like their rent is late or whatever on these festival tickets, like that is really important to me. And it's like, it's one of the very few companies that are actually working to like combat that, which is so cool.
Do they work directly with like, let's say like Coachella? Is Coachella's
going? Not one of ours. No.
I'm just for the sake. I'm just saying like, let's say what is one? What is a festival that?
So like I was we do like Spring Awakening and like Chicago and like Bonnaroo and like
so
Austin
Bonnaroo.
City Limits.
Let's say Bonnaroo. So Bonnaroo is a big festival. It's a huge one. So they work with Pollen and they say, hey, we're gonna give you guys X amount of discount. Available discount.
Actually, Bonnaroo doesn't have any discounts. It's just like really
motherfuckers.
I know. It's like, I don't think Bonnaroo has any discounts. It's not one of my campaigns.
Just in the essence of that idea is Bonnaroo will say like, "Hey, Pollen, we're allowing you to provide a free ticket."
Yeah. So like they contract us, and then we like we do that for them. So like the community management position is basically like I deal with the ambassadors. So it's like it's awesome to see like how stoked these kids are on like just going to this music festival. Like they're like
glorified promoters. It's like the smart way to promote.
It's the best way to promote because it's like if you think about the way that you or I would promote a show. Like we're usually like
share Facebook.
We're gonna do the super obnoxious thing and tag 100 of your fucking friends in a Facebook post.
I don't do that.
Oh my god, I've had.
You know who you are, motherfucker.
You know who you are. Do not do that to me.
And then I gotta unfollow notifications.
I gotta unfollow. My privacy settings are completely changed. Do not tag me in your bullshit, please.
We're getting off topic here. We're getting off topic. Right. Let's close it out. What's so the Pollen is? It sounds like this is like the perfect place for you. It sounds like it's you in essence.
Yeah, it's like me. Like it's very me, and it's just like it's so fun, and it's like like obviously like doing still things on the side. I will forever be a side hustle queen, always.
I thought you were gonna say
no, and it's just like like coordinating activations at like Coachella and like other shit as well. It's just like it's like these are the things that I love. Like I love the grind and I love the hustle and I love like making sure that like I have my fingers in like a million different things. Right. Just like and it's fun too. Yeah. Like who wants to like come home and like have nothing to do like.
Shit, I'm mad at that.
I didn't mean to call you out.
Yeah, no, you're good. I think half the people listening, I think there has to be a balance because the people who are just always like, yeah, I fucking want to go out, I want to go out, I want to go out, I want to support. Sure, but you're gonna fucking burn out. And if you don't burn out, you're not taking care of your body and your health. I want to see just how like we were those people when we were 21 and now we're older. Yeah. Where the fuck do you think we're gonna be when we're all 40 years old? Like everybody's still.
Like?
I mean, for real, it's like
drink water.
now is the time, at least for the people. And this is not for like anyone who's just starting to get into the industry because that's a whole nother thing. But for us, it's like there has to be a health balance. There has to be a health check for yourself to know your limits. And
dude, mental health check is very important.
Yeah, dude. And
it's so important.
I talk about it so much on here, but it's like you wish that there's more awareness to it, and I'm hoping that someone listening to this fucking show would like.
It's actually really cool you say that. Like one of my dream conferences to go to, but it always like lands on my birthday, and I'm just like,
that sounds like the perfect time to go.
I know. I was gonna go this year, but it's like this year it's like okay, we're going to move it. But it's like it's IMS. It's like International Music Summit, and it's like they have an entire panel based on like mental health, and it's just like it's so important like. I remember like going through just like the like paces and just like the anxiety attacks and just like straight like existential crisis inducing situations where it's like like you feel as though you're completely inadequate, and it's just like we have these we have these checks and the concern for the artist, but I feel like there needs to be the same type of concern and the same type of just nurturing and just like present of mind for the people who are behind the scenes. I see people like who are literally breaking their fucking backs for this shit, and it's like where is their checkup? Where is their like, hey, are you doing all right? Did you have a day off? Did you sleep? Like, did you like drink water today? Like,
you would hope from their closest friends.
For your closest friends, but I think it needs to be like a step above that. I love my job and love working for Pollen because it is still within the music industry, but it's not like
heavy integrated
the music industry. And I feel like I am supported constantly.
Or it is, but it's not in the underground
Not
industry.
so much in the underground, but like I'm not like working with artists.
Oh,
like
okay,
I'm not like working with artists.
Yeah.
I'm not like actually playing a hand into like the business that is them, like their passion, their art, like everything that like it enables them to feed themselves and their children. Like that is so like that the whole idea of that like stresses me the fuck out. Like I can't. Like
you get used to it. You get used to it.
It's like it takes a very special person to do that, and it's like right now in my life, like I'm not so like I'm absolutely.
But you're where you need to be.
I'm exactly where I need to be, and it's just like I love like what I'm what I'm doing with Pollen. It's a lot of fun, and I love what it's allowing other people to do. With that being said, like just like working in the community that is the LA Underground, whether it be above ground or underground, like it's just like it's LA and it's like our community, and the only way it's gonna get better is if we put the work into it.
Love it.
Bam.
I love it. Bam.
Mike.
No, don't. I just bought this motherfucker. All right, where can everybody find you on social media? Where can everybody find you on all your
social media? Like, oh god, my social media is at Jesus Says Relax. It's been the same.
Care to explain? Jesus Says Relax. Type.
So like my favorite TV show, Genji Cohen, Weeds. The episode where Uncle Andy finds out that one of the kids is flushing his jerk off socks down the toilet.
Okay. Flushing his
Yeah, and he walks in with Nancy Botwood screaming at him. He's like, "Whoa, Jesus says relax!" Like,
and that was it. You're like, "That's it. That's it." Tattoo, Instagram.
No tats yet. As of yet. Yeah, Instagram everything.
Instagram everything at Jesus Says Relax. I appreciate you coming out. That was fun. I'm glad you had a good time.
That definitely wasn't as nerve-wracking as I thought.
Yeah, no, it's not. You're just talking to me. Nobody gives a fuck.
Nobody gives a shit.
Anyway, thanks for tuning in, everyone.